I have always been an overthinker. Every time I decided that, alright, now is my chance to speak up, I would most of the time just get too much in my head. I would get caught up in all these different thoughts. How do I sound? How are people going to judge me? Are my ideas stupid? Too so caught up in my head that most of the time I wouldn't even say a thing. And that was one of the reasons I had these stress balls. So every time things got a little bit heated or I got a little bit tensed up, I got nervous, I would just be pressing these balls and, it would calm me down a bit. But nothing has changed my day-to-day life for getting rid of fear, for getting rid of all these anxious thoughts and stress than this one technique that I originally heard from Alex Hormozi. If you know him, he's this big business dude on YouTube talking about business, but also a lot about mindset and how you can get over fear. And there was this study that I also read, and this was kind of how I took Alex Hormozi's idea and this study, and I combined it to something that has worked really well for me in social situations, conversations, meetings, where I have this feeling that I have a good idea. There is something I want to say, but I get too much in this mode of overthinking. And the study that I looked at was essentially, I will butcher the details, but it was the longest study, if I remember correctly, and it was a nurse who did it, and she asked people on their deathbeds in their 80s, 90s. She asked them a lot of questions, but one of the questions she wondered about was, what is their biggest regret? And the majority of all old people on their deathbed had one regret. There was one trend throughout all of this, and that was that most people, they had the regret of caring too much about what people thought of them and acting too much in a way according to what they thought other people would want them to do. And when I read that study and I heard, this technique from Alex Hormozi, I started thinking to myself, okay, so if I'm scared in a moment, what if I would start thinking about my older self? I would start thinking about myself on my deathbed. And would Felix at 80 years old, or if you're a biohacker, 150 years old, 200 years old, would Felix at 180 years old really be thinking about what are people thinking about me? How are people judging me in this moment? And would this moment, even if I failed miserably, even if people laughed at me, I had a voice crack and I had just a terrible idea and I would even get fired, would that's pretty unlikely, but would that be something I really cared about at my deathbed? Probably not. Most likely, definitely not. And shifting this lens to thinking about what would an older person of you think? What would a 80-year-old version of you think? They would not care about other people judging them. Because you see, the biggest issue is that when you overthink, first of all, you get in this mode of analysis paralysis. So you don't want to make any decisions. You don't want to take any action. You don't want to ride a tiger when you're scared, when you have this fear. So that is one issue, that it's absolutely stopping you from taking action. And you probably know by now that if you don't take action, nothing will change. Because in the end of the day, it's the end of the day. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. You have to take action. You have to be the man in the arena. You have to speak out in meetings. Be a little bit assertive sometimes. And you might offend some people. But this is what you have to do if you want to have some sort of success in life. But being an overthinker is not the way to go, as you probably know, because it doesn't feel good to overthink. It doesn't feel good to regret later on, oh, why did I not say that? I was in the meeting and I had this idea, but I didn't say it because I was too scared. Like, how does it feel to live a life like that? But after I started thinking about this, every time I felt a little bit tensed up, I just started thinking, all right, what would 180-year-old Felix think? He would not care. And I also like a lot, if you want to get some honest feedback, go and talk with an old person. Go and ask an old person, what do they think about you? Ask them to give you raw, honest feedback. Because they are so old. They know that their time on this earth is so short. They don't have much time left. And they don't even have the energy left to be caring about what you think. So they will give you everything in the most raw form, unfiltered. They will give the honest truth to you. And that is the opposite of Gen Z. Gen Z, the people who, I'm also included here, the people who have lived up with the internet and been using ChatGPT for the last several years, are too scared of speaking out their opinions. They're too scared of getting cancelled. What if the things I'm saying is not politically correct? What if I mess up like I just did? What will happen? What will people think about me? And we use ChatGPT as our consultant every damn time we want to write an email or something. So that is the biggest mindset shift you can have. And the other one, which I also like to think about, is that just really think bigger picture. No one really cares about your mistakes. If you mess up a bit, you say something politically incorrect, or you have a bad idea, or you stumble and mumble your words, people are not caring that much about you. You are not that important. Just realize that. And what has really worked for me comes back to the action part. Like, you have to take some action if you want to get better at anything. And when I feel that I'm starting to overthink, what I like to do is just I give myself a timer of 10 seconds and I have to take action. So if I have an idea and I want to speak up to someone, or I want to go up and talk to someone at a networking event, for example, I give myself 10 seconds. When I start feeling that feeling, that feeling when you're like, this would be a good idea, but I'm not sure, is it the right time? Like, should I speak up right now or not? Should I wait for the next moment? When you get that feeling, give yourself 10 seconds and then you just say it, right? Just be in flow, be in the moment, present in the moment, and just say it. And let the chips fall where they may. And when you start doing this, you take action. You take an action first approach. You become high agency. You're riding the tiger instead of overthinking everything. It will start feel more natural, and you will find more courage in yourself. And just realize that it's okay to fail a bit. It's okay to not be perfect all the time. Hopefully you found this video valuable. Leave a comment down below if this sounds any familiar to you. And I wish you all the best. Wish you good luck. Take some action on this. Start implementing this mindset. It's a great mindset to have, because the less fear you have, the less working memory you need to put on thinking about all these extra negativities, and the more successful you will become. All right. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.